I don't look too into that because none of it's really real anyway.
Han Meditations.
Hey guys, as you can see, I have all these journals. The link will be in the description. Check this out, and it'll be in Amazon. Go ahead and get the book if you want to support the channel. Thank you guys for watching. Hey guys, I'm Han. This is Kelly. We are Han Meditations. This is a request from someone who donated to the channel. So thank you for the donation, guys. And thank you for all the donations. Doesn't matter if it's 1 cent, $1, doesn't matter. We appreciate it all. So we're going to get to all of the people who donated and their requests first. So let's go ahead and watch it.
Now this is the Paul who has rewritten the life of Jesus Christ and said to us, 1, Jesus said, I came not to change and alter the law. Whose law? The law of Moses. Not one jot, nor one tittle, till heaven and earth shall pass away. No one must change or alter the law. For anyone that does so is the least in the sight of God. That's what Jesus said. Now Paul said he came with a new covenant. Paul said he came with a New Testament. Paul said he came to the Gentiles and that they no longer had to, those that followed Paul, they no longer had to observe the law of Moses. What was the law of Moses? The 10 Commandments. They no longer had to. They could eat pig's meat. The Jewish people today, following the law of Moses, they can't eat pig's meat. So how could Paul change that law and tell them they could eat pig's meat? Paul said they didn't have to circumcise. All Muslims, all Jews, all of those that follow the prophets are circumcised. How is it that Paul said they don't have to be circumcised? Paul said they didn't have to observe the Sabbath. Now, the Sabbath is one of the commandments, one of the 10 commandments. And Jesus said, when they asked him about, Jesus said, do you know which is the greatest of all the commandments? What commandments was he talking about? He's talking about the commandments of Moses. He said, do you know which is the greatest commandment? Jesus said, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy mind and all thy soul. This is what Jesus said was the first of the commandments. Because that commandment from Moses was, hear ye, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one, and thou shalt not worship anyone except the Lord thy God, and thou shalt not bow down to any graven images in the heavens or in the earth or in the sea below. For the Lord thy God is a jealous God, and thou shalt not worship any gods along with him. That was the first of the commandments. But Paul said we didn't have to observe that commandment. And it was through the epistles of Paul that Constantine later on, 300 years later, he decided to reconcile this new Jesus at the Council of Nicaea. To be specific, in the year 354, it was Constantine that reconciled Paul's Jesus from the historical Jesus and decided that he would go with Paul's Jesus and kill everybody else. And that's where the Trinity was born. That's where the incarnate God was born. That's where the atonement was born. That's where the idea of Jesus Christ being crucified, dead and buried for 3 days and coming back was born. This is where the idea of Jesus being God was born, because Constantine accepted that idea. Because Constantine had already deified his father as Sol Evictus. And that's how December the 25th became the birthday of Jesus, although Jesus could not have been born December 25th, because that would have been the winter in Lebanon. And anyone here that is from Lebanon will tell you September the 25th is probably snow in the ground. So why would they have a baby in the manger when there's snow on the ground? but that was the date of the Sol Invictus. And that's when they changed the Sabbath from Saturday, from Yom al-Sabt. Yom al-Sabt, all the Arabs in this room know Yom al-Sabt, the Sabbath is Saturday. So how did the day of worship for the Christians become Sunday? Because that was the day of the worshiping of the sun, and that's the day that Constantine worshiped, and that's where they took the name of Jesus and changed the Sabbath and made it into Sunday. And Moon Day, Monday, and Tuesday, another god, and Wednesday, another god, and Four's Day, another god, and Friar's Day, another god. All gods of the Romans and the Greeks. What did that have to do with Jesus Christ? Absolutely nothing. So a new covenant was born through Paul and the collaboration and the official documentation of Constantine, who then assigned an official Bishop of Rome. That Bishop of Rome became the official pontiff of the Catholic Church. And so today, that's why the Pope is called the pontiff. He's called the shadow of God on earth. Whose shadow? Whose God? The God of Paul, the God of Constantine. Certainly not the God of Jesus. Now, Paul, through his writings, set up a nefarious situation that virtually stamped out, wiped out, imprisoned, tortured, killed, eliminated all of the Unitarians, because those that followed Jesus Christ were called Unitarians. That means they were subscribing to one God. And what happened to the Unitarians? They were thrown to the lions. They were thrown to the lions until they were gradually eliminated. Then Constantine made Christianity the official religion. Why? Because he made a distinction between the Nazarenes and the Christians. If you were Christian, you were cool. If you were Christian, you were official. If you were Christian, you could be assimilated. If you were Christian, you were Constantized. If you were acceptable, if you embraced the Pauline doctrine, then you became a Christian. And Christian then became an antithesis of the Nazarenes. It also became an antithesis of the life and the message of the historical Jesus. This new evolution, this new faith system, officially adopted by Constantine, the Roman emperor, the establishment of the Church of Rome, and the subsequent Christology that has developed. I said Christology. Now, what is Christology? Christology is the scientific, systematic dramatization and mythological replacement of the historical Jesus. That's what Christology is. Because if we want to love Christ and follow Christ, we have to follow the real Christ. We have to follow, find, and subscribe to the historical Christ. The issue is, who is willing to follow the historical Christ? And even after you receive the information, some of you are angry right now. If you had some rocks, you'd probably stone me right now. Some of you might want to invite me outside to beat me up. You might want to stand up where you are and just say, you're a liar. I don't care what you say. Jesus is God. And you're going to continue saying that because change is difficult.
Wow. What an interesting perspective. And assuming everything he said is correct, that was very, very powerful, because one of the things that we think about and we talk about all the time on this channel is, where did this notion come from that Jesus is God? If Jesus never claimed to be God, we just did a video on that, talking about that subject, saying Jesus never claimed to be God. So where is this notion coming from that Jesus is God? So
Correct.
From this perspective, it's coming from Paul in the Gospel of Paul, where he changed the life of Jesus. And that's one of those things where we talk about, okay, you have the Quran. Okay, the Quran is right here. It's protected. It's sacred. It's been passed down word for word, generation to generation, not been altered, not been changed, nothing. Then you have the Bible. And in the Bible, there's different books, and the same thing with the Torah, where it's like, where is a lot of this information coming from? It's from different people. You have to decide, are we going to put this in there? Are we going to not put this in there? Like the book of Enoch. They had the same discussion in Judaism and in Christianity. Are we going to put the book of Enoch as a part of our master collection of our book? And they had to decide, we're going to leave it out. So one of the things with Islam, you don't have those problems. You don't have those issues where it's like, hey, this person said this person said that. It's like, no, there's just one book. And in this book is everything you need to know, essentially. So it is a very interesting concept whenever you hear about Paul and you hear about the changes to Christianity and how they changed Jesus's life after he was dead.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, like you said, when it comes to the book of Enoch, it's like, people say, okay, well, it wasn't considered canon for the Bible, but it's like, who even are these group of people that got together and decided what is the canon for the Bible? Like, who are they? And why were they qualified to make such decisions? Number one. But number two, I have actually heard of a couple things that he was talking about. I've heard about the Christmas Day and how it does evolve from the Roman Empire, and it was actually a 3-day celebration they would do, starting on December 21st, because, you know, they were very into the planets and stuff, and so astronomy. And December 21st being the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, where essentially it's the least amount of light. And then once it reaches, you know, its darkest day, its lowest amount of light, boom, it starts going back towards the light, degree by degree by degree, where the days get longer, and that axis is going slowly towards the sun until we get to summer, right? So from the 21st to the 25th, it will go one full degree closer. And so that's why they celebrated from the 21st to the 25th. So that is something I actually was aware of. And by the way, the 21st is Han's birthday, fun fact. Now, I definitely understand all of these points about how these fake dates and everything was created. And also, by the way, I actually have heard that Saturday stands for Saturn Day because they worship Saturn and stuff too. I don't know. These are just things I've heard. So I'm not sure how accurate that is. But when it comes to things such as dates and our calendars, yeah, it's not right to just make things up. But I don't look too into that because none of it's really real anyway, like such as the Ethiopian calendar is completely different. And so in reality, none of us are really right about the dates. And I think when it comes to worshiping God and being close to God and admiring Jesus, I don't think they would care too much. Oh, you're not celebrating my right birthday. You know what I mean? Because intentional energy is real. And as long as we do have the intentional energy, and at the same time, so many millions, billions of people are coming together on this day and giving their grace and honoring God, Jesus too. And it still is important. And it still is the day. now it is the day. And I don't think it matters that it has to be absolutely historically accurate. But yes, it is definitely important to know that the Romans tampered with stuff in Christianity. Unfortunately, they definitely did.
I mean, imagine being in the room whenever they decided to whether they're going to put or not put the book of Enoch into the canon text of the Torah and the Bible. Imagine the conversations that they were having at that time. I mean, really think about, you're in this book, you're in this room, you're talking about this book. They know the contents of the book. These are probably religious scholars. These are probably people that are high up in maybe the Catholic Church or whatever denomination they're in. But these people had these discussions in Christianity and Judaism where they really decided it. Maybe they looked at it and said, there's different beings that are described by name in this book, and we don't want to incorporate that into our text because that adds in too many questions. Maybe they looked at it and said, this has too many truths. Maybe they don't want people to know this information. It's too powerful. There's a myriad of reasons why they did not incorporate this into the Bible. And you just have to think and wonder, why is it? And what was it really like whenever they were in that room? It's very interesting to think about. So thank you guys for recommending that video. That's an awesome video. Great conversations are being had from that video. And thank you guys for watching the channel and being here with us. A lot of people are not subscribed. Just hit the subscribe button. You don't have to donate. You don't have to do anything. Just hit the subscribe button. But if you do donate, we appreciate you so much and we love you guys so much. And we are here for you guys. So thank you guys for everything you've done. And we'll see you in the next video.